This is Guyana, one of South America's poorest nations, but is now on the path to become India's most important trading partner. Thanks to a series of oil discoveries in the past decade, the country, known as the Land of Many Waters, has transformed into the Land of Oil. The rate at which the oil discovery is skyrocketing, it's projected that Guyana's GDP will surge by 300% to 1,000% by 2025, making it one of the wealthiest nations in the world. But how is this country going to be crucial to India? Join us as we take a closer look at how Guyana managed to achieve such a stunning turnaround, going from an economy in trouble to a thriving, oil-rich nation, and what's in it for India. Guyana is a small Caribbean nation with less than 8 lakh people, which is sandwiched between Brazil, Venezuela, and Suriname. Like India, it is a former British colony with agriculture as the main economic activity. Most of the country is covered by tropical rainforests, and despite having rich reserves of gold, bauxite, and timber, it has always struggled to overcome poverty and attract foreign investment. Sadly, about 1/3 of the country's population lives below the poverty line. The poor living conditions have forced more than 55% of the country's population to move abroad. This includes the emigration of skilled workers, depriving the country of much-needed medical, engineering, and science professionals. However, everything changed after a report in May 2001 that estimated that the Guyana-Suriname basin held between 2.8 to 32.6 billion barrels of undiscovered oil. The country, with the help of US oil major ExxonMobil, started the discovery and struck gold in 2015 when it discovered oil on its coast. The company set up pumping operations in the area, and the first barrel of oil was drilled in 2019. Since then, a consortium of ExxonMobil Corp, Hess Corp, and CNOOC Limited has drilled about 10 billion barrels of oil, which is about 18% of all oil discovered globally. This helped the country's GDP double and reach $8.04 billion. At present, the country drills about 360,000 barrels of oil per day. The country's oil reserves are so vast that they are expected to reach 1.64 million barrels per day by the end of 2030. At the current rate of oil production growth, the country is likely to surpass the United States, Mexico, and Norway by 2035 to become the 4th largest offshore oil producer. But it's not just Guyana that's going to benefit from its find. Even India gets to enjoy a share of it. But why is India so special for Guyana, and how is it going to benefit from it? The relationship between India and Guyana goes back to 1838, when the British brought Indian laborers to Guyana as indentured servants to work on sugar plantations. Even when the labor contracts expired, most of these Indians made Guyana their home. Since then, Indian culture has become an integral part of the country, with approximately 39% of the population being of Indian origin. Even the current president, Irfan Ali, and Vice President, Bharat Jagdeo, are of Indian descent. So, when the oil was discovered, Guyana turned to India for its help, providing India with a new opportunity to strengthen its economic and military growth. Now, let's look at how India is going to benefit from this relationship. Energy. India is currently the 3rd largest importer and consumer of oil, importing over 84% of it. The country's daily consumption stands at 5 million barrels of oil per day, and is expected to rise to more than 7 million barrels per day by 2030. Russia, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq have long been the country's top oil suppliers. However, the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, coupled with OPEC's decision to cut oil production and increase oil prices, has made it difficult for India to import oil from these nations, forcing India to seek out other oil suppliers and diversify its sources. Fortunately, Guyana's recent oil discovery has provided India with some much-needed relief. In March 2021, HPCL Mittal Energy Limited, a joint venture between Hindustan Petroleum Corporation and Mittal Energy Investment, purchased India's first oil shipment from Guyana. Following this, the Indian Oil Corporation purchased a second shipment in July 2021. Guyana is going to see many such purchases in the future. By 2027, the country plans to produce 1.2 million barrels per day, which is almost 20% of India's daily oil consumption. The country also plans to sign a memorandum of understanding with India that will go beyond just exporting crude oil. The agreement will help the country develop its energy sector with India's support. To accomplish this, it intends to auction off 14 of its oil blocks, for which the country's president Irfan Ali has invited Indian companies to participate. Additionally, as part of the strategic partnership between the two countries, the Guyanese government plans to award separate oil blocks on a government-to-government basis. One such oil block is the Stabroek offshore oil block, which is currently under the control of ExxonMobil. Moreover, it is also seeking to recruit skilled workers from India to assist in oil exploration and development in its newly discovered oil fields. This move will create more job opportunities for Indians. Defense. Guyana is no longer just a small Caribbean nation. It is a country with valuable resources that needs to be protected. To achieve this, the country requires a robust defense system. In pursuit of this goal, Guyana has sought India's assistance, which has the third largest military power globally. Already, many ranks of Guyana's defense force have benefited from India's technical and economic cooperation training program. Now, the country intends to purchase military hardware from India, including maritime assets such as patrol vehicles to protect their resources at sea, as well as Dornier aircraft to improve domestic connectivity. This is a big win for India, which is planning to triple its defense exports to $5 billion by 2025. Air connectivity. Another major development is the air service agreement between the two countries. Even though 39% of Guyana's population is of Indian origin, there is no direct connectivity between the countries. As a result, traveling takes up to 1.5 days' time. However, the Air Services Agreement will solve this problem by providing direct air connectivity and help boost trade and tourism in India. Political benefits. The relationship will not only help India economically but also politically, as the country is trying to build close ties with Latin America and Caribbean nations to become a leading global power. This can be seen from the fact that India's trade with the LAC nations has doubled in the past 10 years, reaching $42.5 billion in 2021. These countries, including Guyana, are likely to form strong voting blocs for India in international forums such as the United Nations. Conclusion. It's clear that Guyana is quickly becoming a significant trading partner for India. This is evident from the remarkable growth in trade between the two nations in 2021 to 2022. To put things in perspective, trade activity shot up by over 300% during this period. In 2020, India's exports to Guyana amounted to $26.2 million, while imports from Guyana stood at $9.41 million. However, the situation changed significantly in 2021, with India exporting goods worth $67.37 million to Guyana and importing products worth $158.77 million. These figures demonstrate the enormous growth in the country for India and Guyana if the countries continue to strengthen their trade relationship in the near future. If you loved watching this video, then make sure to subscribe to our channel for more of such interesting content.